Well, hello folks, I am the Custard Prophet and welcome to a first look of Tennis Manager 2021. So yeah, I saw this had come out and I thought, well, there is only one channel that this should be on. And that is this one, of course. For those who might be new to my channel, I have done a lot of content around Tennis Elbow Manager 2. You can find links to those on my channel pages, playlists and what have you. We have a long-term Let's Play series and also guides for the game. Yeah, what we're going to be doing today is looking at this new Tennis Manager game, Tennis Manager 2021. Nothing to do with the developers of TEM2. It's from some new developers, Rebound CG, I think they were called. And this has just come out on Steam, so it's kind of exciting to see this. It looks pretty damn good, but what we'll do in this is have a little look around the game, and we'll kind of compare as we go to TEM2 and other management style games. If you are looking for other content of this, the Reckonist put a first look video on his channel, which is kind of where I saw this first up, so make sure you head over to his channel and support his work. He does a great load of content on there, including Football Manager content as well. Right then, let's get into this. So Tennis Manager 2021, let's see what it's all about. I have had a little look just so I know what I was doing. We are going to go for a new career, so you can see what this is all about. First thing you get to do is to put yourself in the game as a person. There is both the choice of men and women, which is nice. Young, seniors, I guess I fit within seniors, although none of these photos kind of look like me. It'd be kind of nice to be able to upload your own photo, you know, a la Football Manager. I can't think which of these looks the most like me. I don't think any of them do. We'll go with this rather cheesy looking fellow, and we'll give him my name. We'll be my age. Jesus. And we'll click on. So we've got the option here now. This is really good. I mean, already I think visually this looks a lot nicer, a lot cleaner than Tennis Elbow Manager. One of the things that has been said about this game, one of the comments on my channel, which I fully agree with, is TM2 looks a little bit like a mobile game. This doesn't. This looks really quite smooth. I really like the background they've got going on. The windows look really kind of cool. It reminds me a lot of Football Manager, the way the kind of everything is set up. It just has that same sort of feel. But as we'll find out, a lot of the ideas that are put into place are very similar between the two games. And yeah, I think I've got a lot of love for TEM2. I do. And I would, if you've not tried that out, go and check that one out as well. So we have this same sort of idea in the TEM2 game. It's set up somewhat differently, but we can put in a different style of manager. We are going to be running a tennis team. So how are we going to do that? Are we going to be strict? Are we going to be having all of our attributes focused on discipline? Man management, presumably that would fit. Or are we thinking more that we want to be good technically? And what we can do here is fiddle around with some of these. So you've got the option to have your preset ones, or you can sort of manage, you can mix and match them, kind of like you do in Football Manager with your manager setup. So then you've also got the chance of experience. So we'll be hardened. Well, that's screwed everything up. Right, we'll be hardened and technician. We're not doing a playthrough. I don't know why I'm taking so long over this, but you can see that does up the attribute ratings here for all of these things. So you can see this person is a little bit better at all those things than if you start right at the bottom. Don't know if you get development of your own attributes. I mean, I hope you do. I think that would be kind of nice. But that's the manager type. So we've set that up, and then we need to decide where we are going to go. And there is some choice here across Europe and beyond. Of course, as we're British, we're going to go to the British Tennis Academy. This option to create your own academy as well, which I think is a kind of nice one. So we go into, again, I really like the setup. I think it looks really nice. And then they have this, which is your kind of main screen that you come into. And this, I think, is what TEM2 is missing. This kind of inbox thing. I don't think it's done perfectly, I have to say, but I think it looks really good, I think. And it certainly adds something to the game, so events can pop up, and it feels that a little bit more immersive because of this. So as with TEM2, because we have these guys aren't licensed for the real names, you've got slight variations to the name. So Tom Heineman, the board director, who was going to be Tim Henman presumably, has welcomed us to the academy and is going to introduce us to the public during a press conference. Yes, there are press conferences. So then there's a really nice system which sort of walks you around the different screens, and there are a lot of screens to go to. And I think the one beautiful thing that TEM2 has going for it is so easy and quick to pick up, and that kind of goes into that kind of mobile game mentality, because you just can pick it up really, really quickly. Here it's a little bit more complicated, so we'll have a little whiz around, and we'll look through some of the menus, some of the screens that we've got, and then we'll move forward and have a little bit of a look at the gameplay as well before we sign off. So let's have a look. You get a little screen each time telling you what each one does. So you've got the different league types, the different number of tournaments, and how the scoring is done. So the 18 best tournaments, and also the end of season tournament. And you also got the women's league, the junior league as well, and the details there. So you can be a junior, you can be a woman, or you can be a man. And you can see they've done a better job, I think, here of getting it pretty damn close to the actual names of the players. So this is the various circuits, and you can see here we have the top. Well, we can go all the way down. We're not going to, but it's a nice setup here. You can filter it by age, you can filter it by date, by a bunch of other things, which is really nice and helpful kind of as you kind of move on. So that's kind of nice, and you can flick through here to the different tournaments, and then you've got the race, so which is the year tournament. So the winner of that, I think, goes into the top 10 of that go into the final, and then finally we've got the tournaments, the individual tournaments, and again you can filter those out and you can register for those tournaments on this screen, so which I think is kind of nice and works kind of well. So then you come here into the team, and this is where a lot of the training comes in. So at the center we have 3 players. We have Andy Murray, who's getting on a little bit. He's 33. He's been injured forever, and he's coming back and hoping to improve. You can see we've got nice attribute setups. I mean, how much does this look like FM? Or if you hover over any of the attributes, you get an explanation as to what exactly they are, which is kind of good. You also get the here showing an increase to those attributes in training if training's going well, and I'll show you kind of got that information elsewhere as well. You've also got a bunch of statistics on the player. Obviously we've got none of those at the moment, which is really nice, and some information on their ranking and last few tournaments and those sort of things. So you can really much more easily actually here than TEM2. I think they've done the kind of databasey, spreadsheety stuff much better than they have in TEM2. There's a lot more detail in in terms of the statistics to dive into. Certainly if you're kind of wanting to think about how you're going to play against a player, you can really get into depth on your previous form, what went well, what didn't go well. And then you've also got some other things. So here you've got your game plan. So this is your kind of tactical area. You've got some preset tactics here, which you can go to. The dots here indicate what Andy Murray is good at, and these are the ones that he's maybe not so good at. So you probably want to focus here with your tactic, and you can set that up before a game, but also during it. But then you've also got the chance to modify your own tactic, and that sort of thing. Something I really like here, again, something they don't have in TM2 particularly well. They've got here the equipments. So you can see we've got the racket, the clothes and shoes that are being used. So you can buy new, or you can sign new contracts with improved suppliers and get money that way. And I don't know what this tab is. Oh, these are the objectives that we need to achieve with Andy, which is exactly the same. We have that in TM2 as well. There are objectives you have to achieve with your player that you're training, otherwise they're going to go elsewhere. So that's kind of one of the most important areas, and you've got that information for all 3 of your players in the squad. You've also got your staff. Now this is an important screen, so you can set up your you can set things up here. So I'm going to set the training up so it's going to be somebody else doing this. Right then, here we go. So that's our staff. This is the list of all the staff that we have. So the support staff, the physio staff, the trainers, and my good self here. So you can then look for improving your staff. You can improve the players that you have. So then you've got your academy. This is another one. So these are the objectives that will be provided to you. So this is where what you've got to focus to for each of your players. In-depth details of the finances. Another thing that TM2 don't do particularly well. I think the finances on that game could be much better done. But look at this. I think this is just brilliantly set up. And then the infrastructure as well. So you can see here that we've got the various areas of infrastructure. So each one of these is out of 9, and we're at kind of level 4 for 3 of them, and level 3 for the final one. But the one thing I don't really like here, you can't see, I don't think, what the upgrade would actually do. Okay, here it goes. Now you can here. So here it would give you an electrotherapy installation, and you can see at the bottom here what that does for your team. So we are limited here with the amount of staff slots if you've only got a level 4 sports center. So if you get a level 5 sports center, you are going to increase the number of staff spots available, the number of players that you can have, and also have an indoor tennis court. It's an eighth month process. You can't really see, there's no image of it, but it's a nice way of setting up, nice way of showing it. And then finally you've got the search, and you've actually got scouting as well, which is kind of cool. So you can scout your players. I think if you've played Motorsport Manager, it's a similar setup, so you can find players. So one of the things that I know we're going to have is that we need to find players who are based in the UK, so we can scout this person and we'll get an evaluation on him in 142 days. Bloody hell, that takes a while. But you can also do the same for the staff. So if we need to improve the staff, we can look for a different staff member to improve what we've got. And the other academies as well, we can see details of them also. So that's the screens that we've got. We're going to move through the game now, which I think the setup of this game looks absolutely brilliant. So we're going to move through the game, and we're going to just have a little look at some of the key things that happen, and then have a little look at the gameplay. I won't show you much of that, but I just want to show you what it looks like as well. So here we go. Here's the information on the objectives. We want a balance over 0 at the end of the season, so don't lose all your money. Keep the current players, only 1 departure allowed, so that's important. Recruit only players with a different status than secondary players, so decent quality players, and 50% of the players must be from the same nationality as the academy, so British based. As you can see here, we've got 100% of that, so that's not a problem at all. That's all fine. So here we go. Here's the press conference. These are a bit samey. Got Daisy Miller from United Tennis asking us the questions. You're joining a prestigious academy. Do you feel you're up for the challenge? No, I don't. We can just leave. I'm determined to prove that I am. Yes. What's your goal in coming here? We need money and results. The keywords are stability and consistency. Andy Murray is the best player, and I will be taking charge of his training. What's your training philosophy? Maybe that tells me a lot. Big fan of Pete Sampras or Roger Federer. Not one or the other. It just switches. Technique. We'll just pick that one. I don't care. So there we go, and then we'll have a little message from Tim Henman saying, "Oh, you were brilliant. Thought you were absolutely amazing." The training has already been assigned as well. Yeah, so that's already been assigned because I didn't do that. I let someone else do it, which I think this is kind of nice. Didn't really show you this, but you can see that you can modulate that training. There's a lot of options, and you can see in detail what each of those do. So you need to figure out what you want to improve in your player, and then you can then move through this and find the best possible way of doing that. So there's a lot of options here, which is kind of nice, including rest, and rest will be important. So that's kind of good. So we'll move on. So here we go. We get an option. We can either go in and look at the tournament. So it's the hard season, the start of the year, which includes the Australian Open. We've got our 3 players, Sal, Borry, and Andy Murray. So we've let the staff deal with those. So we've gone to a few of these tournaments, and we'll go to the first one and just see what the gameplay actually looks like. So actually, the game itself, it moves on quite quickly once you get everything sorted early on. You get some nice information on terms of training. We get some suggestions on what we might want to do. So this is what the assistant has put forward, and that's what's going to happen. So as you can see, we've got some of these things. So Andy Murray has arrived at the Qatar Open. He's managed to get into that. So small prize money. He's over 100th in the world after his injuries. So I mean, it's amazing how far he's gone down. And I think attribute-wise, he has dropped a lot as well because of those injuries. So he's not one of the top players in the world at this point, as well we know. Oh, here, this is good. I didn't show you this. This is the training. So this is how well the players are training. You can see Andy Murray. He's quite old, so he is only improving by 1%, just over that. Not big changes. Similar sort of picture here for Borry here, who's in his mid-20s, I think, but this youngster is improving rapidly, and you can see some massive improvements here. So this is kind of what you get if you want to sort of focus on being a youngster, or focus on training of a youngster. You can make some really big improvements. So here's the tactics. We'll get some ideas before, so we'll probably stick with what Andy Murray is best at, which is his defensive baseline play and getting those returns back. That seems like a sensible thing to do at this point. You also get information on people or areas that need to be improved. So you get a little bit of suggestions from your staff. They come in and say, Sal here needs to improve their stamina. So you can focus your training around maybe some of those suggestions that you get. Okay, so here we are. We have got to the Qatar Open, and we're going to have a play of the first game. You can see here we've drawn Jason Jump from wherever that is, Tonga, possibly. I'm not entirely sure. I should know that. I'm normally quite good with my flags. So Tonga has. Is that? No, that's not a cross, is it? That's a star. Ooh, I'm not sure. So it nicely kind of highlights that, which is cool. It's got details on which are the wild cards. You can zoom up and down, which is also kind of nice. You can't click on the player, which is I don't like. So it's kind of nice in TM2 to be able to click on the player and look at their attributes. So let's get into this. So this is the information you get in before the match. So we get information that he is in good form. He's an aggressive baseliner. He likes to control the play. So they think he could switch his game to an attacking play or even a deviation play. Strengths and weaknesses. So fitness is a weakness, so surely keeping in the game is important. So tactical advice, it's going to be a balanced match. If Andy stays focused, he should advance. So keep cool and target his opponent's backhand. Right. So defensive baseline play looks like the way forward with that. I'm not entirely sure how we can target the backhand very easily from here. There's a few things I don't fully understand about this. So we're going to enter the locker room, and you can give him a pre-match G up here. It's not a key match in his life. It's a personal problem. I don't know what his personal problems are. So none of those seem very good options. Don't think you've already won. It's going to be played on the court. Well, yeah, me neither. Right, let's get into it. See what we can do here. Andy Murray, he was determined when we started. We've managed to demotivate him straight off the bat. So, yeah, during the game, and we'll show you a little bit of the game. I'll show you some of the highlights as we go through. So here we go. The look of the match, it looks pretty nice, very, very clean, nice models. The players they're using, the umpire looks very clean, graphic looks pretty good. On the screen here, you've got your two players. Again, you can't see the attributes of these players, so that's frustrating, but you have got some quite cool features, which I'll just point out. You've got some information here on temperature and humidity and things like that. You can modulate the match speed a little bit in this one, but there are other ways to do that, and I'll show you that in a second. But then you've got this quite cool stuff. So you've got detailed statistics, which upgrades or which updates throughout the match, and this 3D analysis thing, which I think is absolutely brilliant. I'll show you that in a little bit. You can also alter the intensity levels throughout the game, so in different areas. You can modulate the tactical instructions. So here we can we focus on his backhand here? Might be. So I'm not entirely sure how to focus on backhand, where that would be. Feels like it should be in here, but well, I'm sure I'll find that at some point. And you've got this option here where you can give him a bit of a pep talk during the match, and you can also have a conversation with him after the match or during the match and say, I want a chat after the set. Right, let's have a look what this actually looks like. I think this is the area where it kind of lets itself down. The speed of the the ball just seems wrong. The way the ball and racket kind of fail to connect is very wrong, I think, and the serve is completely out of sync. So this is an area that definitely requires improvement. As you can see, we've not started well with this bloke. We're already 30 love down. But you have got the option here to boost it a little bit. So you can boost it to the next important point, next game point. Let's see what we do here. Go on, Andy. I've also said Shawnee there. So Andy Murray is taken. Is he going to take his first game?
Deuce. Advantage. Out. Deuce.
Making a lot of unforced errors. There doesn't seem too many ways to. And we've got a few
Advantage.
camera options here. That's kind of nice. I quite like that. That is kind of nice. So let's try shouting at him. You can do it.
Game. First game.
There we go. Got the first game on the board.
40 love.
Backhand slice, or the sliced animation, I quite like.
One game all. Out. 30.
He's already struggling, isn't he?
Out. Deuce.
He's concerned, so you've got this thing here, and it tells you what their mental state is, which is kind of nice. So you can modify that just by a pep talk,
Out.
and it will start changing
Advantage.
as things progress in the game.
Deuce.
The volleying animation looks quite good. It's just some of the way the ball seems to react just seems wrong.
Out. Deuce. Second set. Advantage.
And it'd be kind of nice the option to have an insta result or something like that, or really kind of move on a set or something like that. There doesn't seem to be that option available. So we can.
Game. 2 games to 1.
Oh no! Here we go. You can change the highlights to. Breakpoints. Okay, so if we do that now, this is better.
15-40.
Wow, I think this is maybe a little bit too fast. Try that. So Andy Murray loses the first set to this bloke. Taiwan, Jesus, should have got that. So we'll he's missing too many chances. So let's try and change something here. We'll maybe change it to a destabilization style of play. We'll go increase the tactical discipline. Maybe we want to be a bit more attacking. Okay. Let's go for it.
Second set.
We'll just
15 love.
congratulate him for no apparent reason. Right, see how we do here. So
40. Out. 30, 44. Second service.
yeah, it's still quite too fast, isn't it?
3 games to 1.
None of them are quite right. So
Out. Love 50.
it looks like there's work to do if you decide to take on the challenge with Andy Murray.
50,
And
40. Fault. Second
looks
service.
like he's going to lose in a couple of sets. Not ideal. So I think there's a lot of work to do. I think probably if I did a save in this game, I'd probably look to take on a youngster and focus my attention on a youngster, because I think that seems more fun, and try and build them up. So you can see here we've got. I'll just show you these statistics. They look really, really good. I think a lot of information here that you can kind of work through. We get exactly the same set of statistics in Tennis Elbow Manager 2, but then this is all kind of delivered to that statistics an analysis platform that I showed you earlier that you can kind of look back on. There's this 3D analysis thing here which I think is really, really cool. So you can look at ball hits there. You can see where I think this is where they went, where you got winners. Position, average position, you can see that. I think that's a really useful one. Playing area, this is really, really nice. So where did you hit the ball from? I think this is. So defensive, right at the back, aggressive, a little bit further up, and then at the net. And the success rate of the shots in those positions. So not very high in any case. This looks really nice. I haven't quite worked out what this is all about yet. The forehand, you got 52%. I don't know. It's okay. So this is the height. I don't know why that's important, but it looks good. This is useful. It kind of shows you where you are making your serves, and you can see the majority of them are either going into this area or this area. It's quite split, so if you want to focus on one side or the other, then you can do that. And then you've also got the option here to change the which area you're looking at. So he is focusing more in this middle on the advantage court, for example. And then the return areas, so this is where the returns have been coming back. Only 26% of them ended up quite deep, so that's something to think about as well. So then after the match, you get the option of a team talk. That defeat will make you grow up. I've annoyed him. There we go. It really worked well with Andy Murray. So we are out of the Qatar Open, and that is going to be that for this little first look. Let me know what you thought of the game. If you have played Tennis Elbow Manager 2, let me know what you think of it in relation to that. My thoughts. I think, as I say, I think Tennis Elbow Manager 2 is a game that you can get into much more quickly and pick up and kind of get to grips with very, very quickly, which means you kind of instantly going to be starting to enjoy it and kind of know what you're doing. This one, it does take a little bit of kind of looking around, and there's a lot of things I haven't touched on that I don't understand yet. Which is kind of like Football Manager. I guess it's a very, very stripped back in terms of what you get, but there is still an awful lot of information here. I think there's some great features. I love the sort of inbox idea. I think that's great, and the fact that you can kind of filter in this way, I think that's great. It looks like they've taken a lot of the information from Football Manager and applied the things that work to this is what it seems like. Just the setup, the way it's put together, I think it looks awesome. In terms of gameplay, I think the gameplay itself in the matches is a little bit clunky. I'm not 100% sure about that. I think it's kind of nice. You can sort of speed through it. I prefer the TM2 gameplay. I think that looks an awful lot better, even though I guess the models are not quite as clean. They the way that they behave and the way they interact with the ball and the way it all looks just feels more realistic. So I just don't think they've quite got it with this yet. There's lots of really nice features. I think the scouting for players looks really nice. I don't like that you can just kind of go out with a TM2 and you just find what you want. You have to kind of scout them here and find out who's good and who's not so good and who's going to improve, all that sort of information. So I don't know how that scouting will work. It might be crap, but it's nice to have it there. I think a lot of the screens, I think this looks really nice. You can really start to see the things that the players are good at and the things that the players are not so good at. I'm not quite sure what the green attributes relate to, whether they are just the things over a certain number. It looks like it is 13 and above, perhaps. But you can see, there's a lot of really cool things, relationships in there. Old lady players will like that. I know she's not a tennis fan, but if she is watching this, I'm sure she'll appreciate that. All the sort of details, all kind of nicely put together on one screen, which I think is absolutely brilliant. Okay, folks. Well, I think it's an enjoyable game. I think it takes a little bit longer to get into than TM2. I have a feeling it will be a lot of fun once you do get into it and kind of get to grips with it. So I guess the question is, do you want to see a save of this on the channel? If you do, what style of save would you want it to be? Would you want me to what academy would you want me to take over? Would you want me to make my own academy and then look to recruit players, or bring in or take over one of the other academies and focus maybe on a young player perhaps a little bit more than the likes of Andy Murray? Let me know what you would like to see, and if you would like to see something. That would be good to hear. And let me know what you think of the game and what your thoughts are from what you've seen, and have you picked it up, and if you have, are you enjoying it? Okay, folks, that'll do for me. It's probably a bit of a long one, so apologies for that. I should be able to cut it down quite a lot. But if you enjoyed this sort of content, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you enjoy tennis management games. Make sure you head on to my Tennis Elbow Manager 2 playlists. So there's a couple of them, so check those out. And hit that subscribe button if you fancy watching a little bit more tennis management. Anyway, folks, I will see you for the next one. Goodbye.